There are men who walk into a room and everything changes. They don't speak. They don't demand attention. Yet somehow, everyone feels them. Not because of muscles, not because they're loud, but because of presence. You've seen it before. That quiet guy at the back of the room. He doesn't talk much, but when he does, everyone listens. Why? Because presence isn't about words. It's about energy. And here's the truth. Presence isn't something you're born with. It's something you forge through silence, pain, and discipline. It's the calm after the storm. It's the look in a man's eyes who's seen chaos, but no longer flinches. A truly dangerous man doesn't need to prove himself. He already knows who he is. That's what makes him powerful. Not the man who swings first, but the man who doesn't have to. Not the one who shouts, but the one who can stand still while the world burns around him. Because danger is not noise. Danger is calm. The 4 behaviors of a dangerous man. Behavior 1, ruthless emotional control. Let's start with the first one, ruthless emotional control. Most men react. Someone insults them. They yell back. Someone challenges them. They defend themselves. They think emotion is strength. But emotion, when ungoverned, is a leash. Every time you react, someone else is holding the other end. Epictetus said it perfectly. Anyone capable of angering you becomes your master. Think about that. If someone can make you angry, they own you. A dangerous man doesn't react. He responds. And sometimes, he doesn't even bother to respond at all. He just observes. When insulted, he stays quiet. When tested, he doesn't bite. Imagine this. You're in a meeting, and someone tries to embarrass you in front of others. Most men would snap, defend themselves, or argue. But you just look at them, calm, unshaken. That silence, that control, it says more than 1,000 words. Because people fear what they can't predict. And a man who controls his inner fire is the hardest to read and the hardest to defeat. Behavior 2, absolute indifference to opinion. Once you control your emotions, the next test begins. Indifference to opinion. A dangerous man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't need applause. He simply moves forward. Marcus Aurelius said, "We love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That's the trap. We live for likes, comments, approval, and lose ourselves in the process. But when you stop caring what others think, when your actions come from reason, not ego, you become unreachable. And the unreachable are feared. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to act superior, just grounded, calm, silent. Think about the people who truly intimidate others. They don't shout. They don't explain. They just do what needs to be done. When your silence is a choice, not a weakness, respect follows you. Naturally, effortlessly. You don't demand it. You embody it. Behavior 3, mastery over desire. The third behavior is the hardest one, mastery over desire. The world controls men through temptation, money, lust, fame, power. Every advertisement, every influencer, every system is designed to trigger what you crave. If they can tempt you, they can own you. But imagine a man who looks temptation in the face and says, "I don't need it." A man who can walk away from beauty, from fortune, from attention, and doesn't flinch. That kind of man is dangerous because he can't be manipulated. He can't be bought. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." The man who wants less fears nothing. You can't seduce a man who's content in silence. You can't bribe a man who already has peace. You can't break a man who doesn't cling to anything. That's not weakness. That's freedom. And freedom is the rarest kind of power. Behavior 4, calm in the middle of chaos. And finally, the fourth behavior, stillness in chaos. Because a dangerous man knows this. Stillness is power. He doesn't yell when others yell. He doesn't panic when others panic. He doesn't get dragged into noise. Marcus Aurelius said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." We live in a world that's loud, impulsive, hysterical. Everyone's racing to speak, to react, to shout. So when you walk through that same chaos, calm, collected, measured, people feel it. They sense your strength before you even speak. It's like standing next to the ocean right before a storm. The silence, the pressure, the power waiting underneath. That's what a calm man feels like. Because when you control your anger, when you choose your battles, you become unreadable and therefore unstoppable. He knows the truth Epictetus taught. Anyone capable of angering you becomes your master. So he cuts the strings. He walks free, untouchable. A dangerous man isn't violent. He's disciplined. He's deliberate. He's calm. Not because he's weak, but because he's mastered every part of himself that once controlled him. He doesn't seek conflict, but he's ready for it. He doesn't crave validation, but earns respect without asking. He doesn't pretend to be mysterious, but his silence speaks louder than noise ever could. He's cut every string the world could use to control him: emotion, opinion, desire, fear. And now he stands still, like a storm disguised as calm. That's real danger, not rage, not chaos, but the mind that stays unmoved while everything around it trembles. So let me ask you, do you control your fire, or does your fire control you? Because in the end, the most dangerous man in any room isn't the one who wants to be feared. It's the one who no longer needs to be. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you that strength isn't in noise but in control, then let it stay with you and share it. Because the world doesn't need more men who shout. It needs more men who stand still, calm, grounded, unshakable. So if you found meaning here, leave a comment and tell me. Which of these 4 behaviors are you mastering right now? Hit the like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more reflections on discipline, stillness, and the quiet art of power. Because this is just the beginning. Be the storm that never breaks, only bends the wind around it.